is the Special Energy and Environment Committee meeting, August the 3rd, room 1010. The time is 9:15 a.m. and we have one item on the agenda as a carryover from a previous meeting. I'm going to make a quick comment and then ask 3 questions, get your answer, and then have Mr. Williams, Dr. Williams talk. Since the last committee meeting, the chief legislative analyst has made me aware that the Department of Water and Power has an upcoming deadline of August the 5th with their bond rating agencies, which they must meet before their August 27th deadline with the state of California. I want to say for the record that it would have been extremely helpful if the Department of Water and Power had made that clear during the committee meeting last Thursday or during the council meeting last Friday. The council, the city clerk, and the office of the CLA had to work up against the pressure of the Brown Act deadlines noticing requirement in order to place this on the committee agenda today and the council agenda tomorrow so that the Department of Water and Power could meet the deadline. In other words, everybody bent over backwards to accommodate the Department of Water and Power again, but it seems to continue to be a one-way relationship. This underscores the points I made in committee last week that the department needs to improve their communication with the CLA, the city clerk, and the city council, particularly when it comes to the issue of allowing 21 days for the possibility of a Prop 245. And if that practice continues where there is disregard for the need for 21 days as a time cushion, I would interpret that as the department just doesn't really give a damn, what we think, and they're just going to do whatever they want to do. And I can assure you that my response will be much more harsh in the future. That all being said, I just have 3 outstanding questions about these power revenue bonds, and I want to ask them for the record. And if you don't have the answers today, I want to make sure you have the answers by the time we get to council, and then that's your last chance. As you know, I continued this from last week's meeting to get more information relative to how these bonds will be repaid. I asked a question last week if the energy cost adjustment factor was ultimately supporting these RPS project and the issued bonds, and I was very unclear about the department's response if these projects were being supported by the ECAF or from some other source.
The answer to that is, my name is Peter Nguyen. I'm from a financial services organization. And the answer to your question with regard to the cost recovery under ECAF is yes. The cost of these renewable projects, first of all...
yes what? Yes, they're coming...
Yes, they're
coming from ECAF.
Yes, the cost to...
Okay, say that again. Yes, the financing for these projects is coming through the energy cost adjustment factor. Is that correct?
The cost of the recovery of these plants would be through the ECAF. In other words, that's how we recover costs to fund for these projects.
And no other source?
No other sources.
Okay.
First of all, the Pine Tree Wind expansion project is already completed. Actually, it's already in commercial operation at this point. Mm-hmm. So we are focusing really on the 2 solar projects. If approved, then it will proceed with construction.
Okay, let me ask
you the cost.
Let me break it down for you so you can answer it sequentially. I want you to clarify the actual funding source for each project and the total amount of each project.
Okay, I'm not sure if I can answer for each project, but if I may,
okay, well,
the cost.
I will need for you to do that by tomorrow. Okay, so why don't I tell you, and then you can get the notes from Stephanie again. I want the actual funding source, again, for each project, and you've just told me it's ECAF, for repayment. The total amount for each project, okay? And how much you seek to bond as part of these projects. And I need it per project.
Okay, that information I have.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The cost for the Pine Tree Wind expansion project is $59.5 million. Mm-hmm. If the bonds issued, then we'll reimburse the revenue fund for that sum. In other words, the project is already producing energy at this point. It's already in the current ECAF structure. So we're focusing on the other two solar projects. Each of them will cost an estimated $48 million. One for Adelanto Solar, and the other one is Pine Tree Solar. Each is $48 million. So sum up $155.5 million.
Okay, I think what you should do, and maybe you should do this for tomorrow, okay? Make a simple spreadsheet and list each project. And that the repayment funding source for each project is the energy cost adjustment factor, okay? And you have a column for total amount of projects. Then another column for the amount you seek to bond as part of these projects. And then if they're all 100% ECAF, I want to know they're all 100% ECAF. If they're, 50 ECAF and 50 something else, you break it out by column. And then show how your repayment costs are covered to get to 100%, okay? I want this to be just really simple. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
But I do have a little information with
Okay.
regard to the cost, how it will impact the ECAF going forward
Okay.
with respect to this particular bond issuance.
But I'm making a suggestion to you that you do it in a simple spreadsheet because I think it'll be easier and faster for everybody else to understand it too.
Yes.
Okay? This is not going to go through on consent.
Okay?
Okay?
The total cost, if I may, over the life of the two solar projects, as a result of this bond issuance, will increase at the cost about $2.2 million per year. That translates to about $0.000092 dollars per kilowatt hour. That is less than 1/100 of a penny per kilowatt hour. So while there's a small cost impact, but it will not have a rate impact because it's too insignificant to have a rate impact.
So this is John Dennis from Power System Planning. And again, the point we recognize, we'll get the spreadsheet for you.
Yeah.
But the point that Peter has here is that this particular piece is de minimis. We don't want to make light of any of these projects at all, but as far as that rate impact, as he indicated, it's $0.000092 per kilowatt hour.
Yeah, I think it would be better if
Put
you
that in the
demonstrated it in.
Certainly.
Okay, and then I also need to know to what degree the Power Revenue Fund is supporting these projects. Okay?
If I may address that, to what degree the Power Revenue Fund is supporting these projects. 100% of the cost, the construction cost of these three projects will be fully funded with these special bonds, the Clean Renewable Energy Bonds and Qualified Energy Conservation Bonds.
Okay.
So none will be supported by the Revenue Fund.
Okay, so then you can demonstrate that, make a column for that too, okay? And then here's the key. The most important issue for me is this. I want you to listen very carefully. I want to make sure that absolutely no future customer impacts occur as a result of this proposal. I'm going to get that on record. So what I want you to answer for me is, will the issuance of these bonds and the related financing of these RPS projects rely on any future ECAF increases? Now, if you want to flip that question, in other words, can you rely on existing ECAF revenues, including what you got approved for July the 1st, to pay for these projects?
The answer to that is yes.
Okay, so then when you do your spreadsheet, I want it all to add up to that then, okay?
Okay.
The reason I want a spreadsheet is because I want a document to which we can refer retroactively if we get into this ECAF mess again and we start fighting about it. And I don't want to get into he said, she said. I just want you to answer my questions, put them on a spreadsheet, and that'll be this, it'll be a snapshot in time of what the department actually told us on the public record. Okay? And again, I'm going to ask Stephanie to give you, or should give you a copy of all these questions so that you can, when you make your report tomorrow, just respond to the questions as I frame them, and your answers should be reflected on the spreadsheet. Okay?
Would you like that spreadsheet in advance of the meeting tomorrow? So, you want us to work with
What do
Stephanie
you
to get
think?
that to her?
I mean, if it works
Or
for you, if
Raphael?
you can do that,
Yeah.
it's so much the better. CLA here and to Stephanie Magnian, who's sitting in for Mr. Catalano this week. Yeah, if you can do that, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right? And then Dr. Williams, this will go forward without recommendation. We don't want it.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, Dr. Williams is going to speak.
Dr. Clyde Williams, El Sereno, Northeast LA. I think you need a definition of ECAF. Just a second. Because ECAF...
Okay,
is-
let me tell them, Dr. Williams, I know. Let me tell them, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Because it is not
Talk
a
to
rate.
me, you can talk to me.
Yeah. It is not a rate.
Yeah.
It is an adjustment that will be made. These are all revenue bonds. So all of the financing, everything goes into the energy budget. Then, if there's not enough money in the revenues, they adjust. Rather than, this is not a rate increase.
Right.
And this is one of the confusions that I've seen, that the adjustment factor is supposed to have been for minor modifications of a few things, not wholesale rate increases. Now, regarding this particular staff report item, 101390, I had a different version 2 days ago on the internet from what's now. So I don't know where things are going, and the public awareness as to what's going on in this particular 1390, I think it is, can't even get it.
It's all right.
Is a shambles. Sometimes, in fact, one of the agenda items was various items, which defies the Brown Act. So I would hope that in the future we'd have more consistency between the documents here versus the documents that are online. So then, there's an issue today in the 10 o'clock DWP regarding the transmission of the power generated by these projects. Piecemealing, we'll do you a little bit now, and then we'll have to have another agreement for a different thing. So when you have all of these less than 1% of a penny
Yeah.
accumulated together, then you start getting rate increases.
Yeah, that's my fear, and that's why I'm asking these questions.
Piecemeal.
And if you want to reconcile whatever differences you saw online, why don't you download what you saw online, and then redline it, and then give it to the city clerk, and then we can have a look at it.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's...
Okay. Don't go away, because you've also filled out a public comment card, so sit back down. Sit down. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you very much. That marks the end of our agenda, and now we go to public comment, where Dr. Williams will speak again.
Dr. Clyde Williams, El Sereno, Northeast LA. DWP, I'm supposed to be a DWP liaison for the LA 32 Neighborhood Council. And trying to figure out what's going on in DWP is only, I might say, overwhelmed by CRA, but that's a different issue. DWP, they want to change their time to 10 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday morning. Why? I think it's in order to avoid public participation both in city council and in DWP board activities. I don't know why. Recreation and Parks does the same thing. So people have to either choose to go to their board meetings or to the city council. They can't go to both. So I would highly recommend, in order to get transparency and accessibility, that you recommend that they retain their original schedule or go to Thursdays at 10 o'clock. That would be a nice time. So that's the basic element. There's DWP, board, water and power, they appear to be trying to isolate themselves from the public and/or from city council representation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Anybody else wishing to come forward and speak on an item that is not on the agenda is welcome to do so at this time. Otherwise, we will adjourn this special meeting. Thank you very much. Wendy.